Hey again, everybody. Um, Today I want to talk on something that not necessarily frustrates me or like makes me angry, but something that I notice sometimes, and if I'm not careful with it, can kind of lead to those feelings. And it's not really something I think about super often, but I was thinking about today, um, and the title of the video is "Through Smiling Faces and Pretty Pictures." And so this is to talk about like kind of the face that we put on with other people, and especially with that what that has to do with social media, um, and kind of another side of it of kind of smiling through pain, and pretending that things are okay even if they aren't. And so to kind of talk on the first point on social media and things like that, um, if you have Instagram or you have TikTok or any of the major social media platforms, then you obviously see a lot of posts, or most of them on there are just are of the best moments of people's lives, and um, you know that's what they're there for. It's not actually an accurate telling of that person's life. You can't look at somebody's Instagram or TikTok page or Visco, whatever platform that it is, and gain an accurate assessment of who that person is. You may get insight into what they like to do, but you're not gonna gain any knowledge about what they care about and what their everyday life is like. And and this isn't inherently a negative thing. It's fun to share cool experiences that you've been through, but it can quickly become a negative one when that comparison starts to happen. When we start to kind of idolize these better posts or these better accounts, or other friends who are doing cooler things or have better things going for them, and it creates an envy rather than a support. And so just kind of being careful of that and watching what your or how your mind reacts when you see those things. um and this is something that sometimes I have it, where I'll see certain posts and I get envious, um and I think, man, I wish that I had that going on. um and this isn't really anything that's happened super recently, but I have had periods of time, especially last year, where not even on social media, but I would hear about things that my friends or that family members were doing, and or just hearing about like where my friends are educationally or socially, and I would think like, man, like I'm the only one in the group who doesn't have this, and I feel like I am the I'm being left out, or and not on purpose, but that I am leaving myself out because I don't have these things. And I forget to tell myself that I am working on gaining those things, but also sometimes you don't need everything that everybody else has, and everybody has their own things that they require, and that's not always going to match up with what you need. And um, so to kind of get to the second part of this, of kind of smiling through difficult things. Um, so a story from today. Uh, so um, we had an activity at our apartment complex, Christmas theme, um, and my ex lives here at the same complex that I do, and I had a fear yesterday and going into it that I would see her there, because even though I don't feel anything for her now, um, seeing her, you know, digs up things, and I definitely I definitely get anxious, and that's not something that has completely faded yet. But so I was worried that I would see her, and I did very briefly. I had sat down with some of my friends, and she had walked in. I think she's only there for like a second. I don't know if she left because I was there, kind of what it was, but saw her briefly, and while she was there though, and I was with my friends, seeing her triggered that kind of anxiety, and but I was like, I'm with my friends, like I need to, be smiling and be in a good mood, and since she left quickly, it wasn't anything that we lasted very long, but one of my friends did notice, um, and asked, and I told them that that's who that was, um, and sometimes it is not good to try to smile through certain pain, and other times when it's unnecessary pain or it's pain that's kind of outside of your control, um, trying to smile through it can give you more power to the situation. And especially with something like that, where, you know, it is very much my initial reaction to seeing her is that anxiety, and I can control that. And it's hard to tell myself that I can, because of course that's what my initial reaction is. So it is it is difficult to kind of remind yourself that you do have, power in that. And so, uh, but sometimes putting on a happy face, even when you don't feel like it, can help to remind yourself that you don't have to feel the way that you do, and you have power over your emotions, even if you might not have power over the initial reaction that you have. And because we always have power over our actions, um, and our thoughts. And so, but also, there's a negative side to that, where you shouldn't, um, suppress negative feelings, and bottle them up and pretend that you're okay, if you really know that you are not. If it's not something that you can deal with by yourself. And this is when it's okay to, you know reach out, speak to somebody, and express that, because you know I don't think anybody is expecting you, um, to pretend to be happy when you are not, and you shouldn't have that expectation of yourself. Um, and suppressed feelings are very dangerous. And I dealt with this a lot last year. I have dealt a lot with this recently. Um, and failing to express yourself, or feeling that you shouldn't, or that you don't have the, correct motive to, um, can really make it just makes those feelings worse, inside of you. And last year was a pretty lonely year for me. I it was my first year at college. Um, didn't have a whole lot of friends. Didn't really make a whole lot of friends. There was a lot of pressures on me, that really I was mostly putting onto myself. But yeah, I was in a pretty dark spot, and I wasn't really working out. I wasn't really taking care of myself. Wasn't really eating super well. And I didn't talk to anybody. And there were, many nights where I would come home and I would cry, or I would cry on the walk home, because I would hold it in all day long, and then on the walk home, or when I got home, you know, it would all just come out. And so, learning how to process those, and having the correct avenues to let those things out is an extremely important thing. And I know it's hard. It really is easy to feel like you don't have anything, that you don't have the right people, or that you're not going to meet the right people to speak to about those sorts of things. But there's people out there that are willing to listen, and and it's not embarrassing to have to go to therapy. I have never been to therapy, but I've been close to. But my way of therapy is doing things like this, and journaling, and I have a lot of people that I call and talk to. So yeah, so I have my own methods of dealing with bottled up things, but that's going to be different for each and every person. And if it's something where it's a pain that was not within your control, that is the result of a different person, then that's something that needs to be spoken up about, especially if it's abuse or things like that. And if it's a personal pain and it's something that is a result of one of your actions or your way of thought, then that's going to take a lot more internal therapy. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I just base things off of what my own experiences are. And over the past year and over recent experiences, I've definitely learned more about what my processing methods are, and what is a therapy and what is not to me, and kind of the mental loops that I try to avoid. And I can't always do it. I've had a couple nights recently where I've gotten emotional, and it's an ongoing battle, but it's better to fight than to not try at all. So keep on pushing forward. We're in a very happy time of the year, but I know it's not happy for everybody. And I know it's easy to think that you need to pretend to be. But if you have something serious going on, take the right paths to improve it. And it's gonna take time, but all things do. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.